Hi, it's Jeri Isaacs from DearWiseWomen.com. I'm here with my sister Donna Bernard. Hey Donna.
We are the Dear Wise Women, Jeri, and we're talking tonight about Liz Cheney. But what we do here at Dear Wise Women is we talk about people from a different, unique point of view based on the day they were born, sets their personality traits. We've been talking about this ancient science, I don't know, for the past 20 years. We're sisters. Jeri's in Nashville and I'm here in New Jersey. And on our blog, Dear Wise Women, we even talked about Liz Cheney a year ago, Jeri.
So we talked about her when it was her birthday a year ago. And we talked about her in March when she was a woman to watch. We've talked about her many times in the past year.
And it's funny because she's a triple king of hearts.
Yes, she is.
And, she's had that power and that big heart. And, we're going to be talking about her again tonight because little did we know that, we knew she would play a prominent role in January 6th hearings. But little did we know that she would capture the hearts of many women and men across this country with leading the committee.
Well, I would say she captured the hearts of many Democrats and independents and ex-Republicans.
Oh, you know what? That is true because we did see tribal politics where the Republicans actually turned their back on her for speaking the truth.
They did. She used to be the chair of the House Republican conference, which is like the third most important person in the Republican Party, and they ousted her. I mean, they just got rid of her and they put that Elise Stefanik in from upstate New York somewhere, who is a big lie believer. And they got rid of Liz Cheney. And it's interesting that she had that part of being the chair of the House Republican Committee, because she hadn't really been in the House that long. It was only like her third season, like her third session. So each is 2 years, right? So
yeah, it's hard to believe that you're only elected for 2 years, so you're always in perpetual campaign mode,
right?
Yet you can play a prominent role as in a committee.
But I imagine that she made her name, or she was even given that title because she was Dick Cheney's daughter.
Well, I think she was very accomplished on her own.
Yeah, but she's also, it's like Republican history. Like she was his daughter. Like
she's the heir.
President daughter, and here she is. Now she was in politics, maybe not in Congress, but she's done a lot of things, and she's an attorney. And so, I mean, from 2019 to 2021, she chaired the committee, but man, they turned their back on her when, she was one of the 10 Congress people, Republican congressmen, to vote to impeach Trump. So I think 2 of them won their primaries. Most of them chose not to run again, and she ran and lost.
Yeah, and that's it's interesting because we really have focus and attention now on what goes on in Congress. I think the past few years has been a lesson. We learn about Congress in high school and, it's 2 years and the Senate is 6 years, but you don't really see it, firsthand. And watching the Capitol on January 6th, it was hard to unsee. And it's hard to imagine the fear and the terror.
And it's very scary because people really, they have such strong beliefs one way or the other. I mean, I was talking to someone who says, well, I had a friend who was there and it was nothing like they showed on TV. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, so what they showed on TV wasn't real? You know, or you don't, I say, so how much news do you watch? Oh, I don't watch the news. So how much do you know then? I mean, you have to stay informed. You have to know what's going on. And I don't know how you unsee January 6th. The only way you unsee it is to not watch it.
Well, and I think what's really important with the committee hearings and what they did put together was you saw people, they talk about working together on both sides of the aisle, but we saw people really working together and weaving together the story with the visuals of the actual footage of what transpired on January 6th. So it's not talking points, it's not whose point of view, it's the absolute facts of what happened on that day. And I really think what impressed me most about Liz Cheney, but you get to see how articulate she is, but working with people, and I have to imagine that she has evolved from the whole experience, because if she really wanted to win Wyoming, I believe she would have.
Oh, she
But I
would have,
think
absolutely. No,
I
it was more important to her to take the moral high ground. I mean, she knew what she saw.
but
The
but
rest, you know what? She had a bigger plan in mind.
yes, she did, because you know what? She realized, wait a minute, this was like a tribunal of, this was just like two teams. This is like bullying in high school, and everybody chose their side without having, without thinking through things for themselves. And I really admire her for standing up, knowing what she was going to lose by not pandering to the voters in her state. And I think she at some point said, it might have been very nice being the congresswoman from Wyoming for the next 30 years. But I think she realized at some moment that I have a much bigger calling. And I think that relates to her triple king of hearts.
Oh, I do too, because it gives her all that leadership ability and the business skills. It gives her a lot of things that the average person who's on Triple King of Hearts, she has a lot going for her. And I think that she will, we have a lot to learn from her. We have a lot to hear about her. And honestly, I probably could argue politics with her on many different subjects, okay? But the truth is, I trust her at least to have an honest debate. You know what I mean? Like she might have a completely different idea, but it's honestly what she thinks. It's not just
It's
words
not a
fluffed
team
out.
sport. It's not a team sport. But when we talk about that she's a triple king of hearts, so we look at people from a unique point of view based on the day they were born, and it sets their personality traits. And with having that royalty in her, I think she has that leadership ability, and she knows the difference between right and wrong. And
Well,
and
they all know the difference between right and wrong. It's just they all don't care.
well, that's true. And what I think is that when you have this triple king of hearts and you work, she came forward, I guess, to protect also Cassidy Hutchinson, because she's concerned about the next generation, because it's really important that we start bringing up the next generation of people to lead
And
our
she was young
country.
herself. She's only 56 years old. She's she's young. So
Well,
she has a lot. What?
I see her in possibly becoming one of the first women presidents.
I agree. And I think there's a lot of people that would agree, except they're not Republicans, which is so funny.
I know.
Or not the people who claim to be Republicans right now. I just think the Republican Party is suffering somewhat in terms of people who of understanding really what they're about. I mean, I think
Well,
there are people who still say they're Republicans and have some morals to them. They don't realize what they're doing by hanging on to it, because it's really the party right now of Donald Trump.
but it's interesting, because I remember years ago, I forget who I was talking to, what is the GOP? It's the grand old
Grand old
party.
right?
And it was really like, a neighbor of mine was like, oh, this Democrat was coming to the local where I live, and all the Republicans in town, we went there and we booed and we hissed. I was like, what did you do in this little town? Why would you do that? That's embarrassing, because they saw it as a party and then they all went out to eat. They saw it as, let's go to a ball game, boo somebody who's going to talk to us, and then go and party. And I think that's not what we're about as a country. And I think also, the two-party, the two issue of, well, actually it's a third issue, where fiscal responsibility. Well, when everything's falling apart, we're fiscally responsible till it
what?
really
For
because
everything falling apart.
numbers are funny, because you can look at numbers all different ways. And fiscal responsibility, everyone in this country, we know the difference. And if a bridge is falling, it's better to fix it before it breaks and people lose their lives. There's things that we need to do. And I really believe that software and technology can help us become smarter and more efficient. So we can be fiscally responsible if we actually give up some Excel spreadsheets and use technology.
Well, we'll see what happens with Liz Cheney, because she is a woman to watch, as we so stated in our blog. She is a woman to watch, a woman on the rise, and it just doesn't, and that's great, because she lost an election and she conceded. She stood there and conceded. She called her opponent and congratulated her, and probably hung up and just laughed and said, what's next? I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, no, I don't think she laughed. I think she said, and this is how you lose gracefully, with dignity.
With dignity.
I think she said, this is what you do when you lose. You transfer the power and you wish the next person you're passing the baton to much success, and you need a lot of luck.
I agree. Well,
visit us at DearWiseWomen.com. Jeri and I, we cover lots of fun stories about all sorts of people and the relationship dynamics between people.
But I do think this might become a series, a once a month woman to watch.
I think we should do women to watch, and especially with the midterms, we might just, actually we're on TikTok now as Dear Wise Women.
Yep.
So we can highlight who we're going to be talking about. TikTok's like a little commercial. We're on Dear Wise Women. We have a YouTube channel, Jeri Isaacs, and then we're on 360 Talk Radio.
Absolutely.
And then it's being pushed out to lots of podcasts.
It's hard not to find us. Just go to your TV and say, Dear Wise Women, and we will show up.
Oh, on YouTube. That's so much fun.
As long as you have a smart TV. If your TV's not so smart, don't do that. But if your TV,
well, you could Google us. You could Google us. And we love words. So whoever came up with Google has become like
our hero.
Everything is Googleable.
It's Googleable. Okay. All right.
And on that note, I say, Donna Bernard, thank you for joining us.
Jeri Isaacs, peace out.